Hi everybody, my name is John and this is my channel once again, John's Rockin' Vinyl 77. And today I have another vinyl update to show you guys. I have like quite a big stack of vinyl, about, what is it, probably about 35 records probably. Just kind of fly through them real quick and show you guys what I got and talk a little bit about what I found. Nothing super exciting, but it's all stuff I need to show. And it's all stuff that I'm really into, so just thought I'd show you guys what I got and tell you what I think a little bit about it. And I've been meaning to upload this video for a while now, just been kind of putting it off and off. Yeah, so we got a new video, so tell me what you guys think, and here we go. Start with this little vinyl find. This is called 1994. The band is called 1994. And the album is called Please Stand By. This is their second album. Really good. Kind of like, I would say like early kind of AOR pop rock. Kind of like a little bit Pat Benatar-y, because, I mean, not just because I was a woman vocalist, but it's from that era. It's from the late 70s, early 80s, so pretty cool album. I believe I'm pretty sure this is their second album. But the singer on this her name is Karen Lawrence. Pretty interesting album. I would say they were actually on a major label. They were on A&M. It's not the only female-led kind of rock album on A&M Records. There's another one called Burning Rome I would love to get a hold of. Really good album, but this is also a good one. On A&M. It's kind of like arena rock, AOR kind of stuff. Pop rock, that kind of thing. Really good, actually. Really solid album. And it is a gold stamp promo right there on the back. This is the kind of stuff I love to buy because it's fairly cheap. It's under $5. You can get this for well under $5, and it's just really good. It's just highly recommended. And a lot of vinyl, like a lot of like popular stuff, is like really expensive now. So I've been kind of just going towards this kind of stuff, this 70s, 80s rock stuff. And here's another one, Theroux. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. It's a Louisiana band. They were called Louisiana's Theroux. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm very sorry. I'm not French. So yeah, this is a great band actually, and this album is actually has who's the vocalist on this album? I believe is it Rod Roddy is the vocalist on this, Rod Roddy. And the album after this would have what is this? Freddie Fredrickson or whatever, Freddie Fredrickson. He would be on it, and of course he was in Toto and all kinds of stuff. This is just like really cream of the crop. It's like Southern rock meets pop rock meets AOR. It's like a good mixed bag of stuff. Kind of has a little bit of that kind of like Toto. I mean, which would make sense because he would go into Toto. Freddie Fredrickson. But yeah, he was in Trillion. He was in Theroux, and a lot of other bands. But this isn't with him. But this is a really good record, really. And the one I really like is All Fired Up and Up. Those are really good. This is the one after Up, and the one before All Fired Up. All Fired Up's the one with Freddie Fredrickson on vocals. So yeah, really quality stuff. And what was the label that's on? I can't remember. I think it's Capitol. I believe it's Capitol. Let's see. Let's just take a look and find out. I think it is. Oh, actually, RCA. A lot of southern rock bands were on RCA, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, really good kind of pop rock, southern rock, a good mixed bag of things. Has a little bit of that what like Steely Dan kind of thing, or Toto, kind of California West Coast kind of sound, but it's still really good, really quality music. I'm a pretty big fan of that kind of style, so that's a good add to the collection. Up next, I found a really nice copy of Head First. I had a copy of this, but the record was a little bit on the rougher side, so I upgraded. Of course, this is on Chrysalis. Of course, the Babies, John Waite on vocals. And this is a pretty dang good album. I would say that this is probably maybe the weakest of the first couple albums, but still there's a lot of good stuff on here. Some of my favorites are let's see. Some of my favorites, of course, Head First. I Was One is really good, kind of like a free, or not, like a Bad Company kind of rocker kind of track. They don't do a whole lot of those in this later period. They kind of were more poppy, but that's one that's a little more rocky. And of course, Head First is a great rock song. And White Lightning's pretty fun, pretty good stuff. Love Don't Prove I'm Right is really good. It's the opener. So yeah, there you are. Baby's Head First. Classic album, don't need to say a whole lot about it. Here's another album that doesn't need a lot of talking. We got Pat Benatar, Precious Time, this is probably my favorite Pat Benatar album of all time. Just such a great, awesome album. Highly recommend everybody checking that out. I mean, if you haven't heard it, one of the best produced 80s rock albums, and probably the best overall Pat Benatar album she ever did. Of course, produced by Keith Olsen, which passed away. Keith Olsen passed away just like a year or so ago, and one of the unsung great producers of that era. He did a lot of big albums, but doesn't get a lot of credit. Like, not with like the really big names like the Ted Templeman and stuff like that. But just a really phenomenal, well-produced rock album. Probably her most rockin' record, too. Does have the inner sleeve. And of course, it's an excellent copy of it. Got this for under $3, so very happy with that. And it's in the shrink. That's a plus for me, so love finding, really clean copies of classic records like this. So, there we are. A little bit of Pat Benatar. Then up next, we got us a local Atlanta band. We got Whiteface. Really cool, kind of like quirky rock, art rock, pop rock kind of stuff. Kind of a little bit, I don't know, I guess new wavy, kind of ahead of new wave a little bit. And there were a lot of these kind of late 70s, early 80s Atlanta bands that did like this kind of new wave kind of rock thing. And they're one of the cooler, kind of more interesting ones. Has a really interesting vocalist, actually. He's kind of interesting. The lead vocal is a little bit more gruff than you kind of expect, but still kind of interesting. It has like this kind of embossed cover with like pretty cool, and they were on a major label. They were on Mercury Records, which is kind of neat. And of course, if anybody knows, Kyle Henderson, that's the bass and vocalist on this, he would go into going into the producers. So one of the most famous Atlanta bands. So very cool that he ended up in the producers. So it's just kind of a piece of Atlanta history. And it's a promo copy. Another one of those gold. That's just on the regular Mercury Skyline label. Classic label. Love seeing that. Anytime I find a record on that that's in really good shape, you gotta grab it. Usually really good music on there. And what else do we have next? We have us another kind of older. We got us the Boxer, or not the Boxer, but Boxer, the band Boxer with Mike Patto on vocals. And this is their album called Absolutely. This is their second album, I believe. I have the first album, Below the Belt, which is really good. And this is just kind of the same thing as the first. Maybe not quite as strong. I don't know. It's still pretty good record. And I quite love Mike Patto's vocals. He was in Spooky Tooth for a very short period of time with the album The Mirror, which is an excellent album. And of course he was in Patto. Excellent progressive rock, kind of progressive band. It kind of was like Yes meets Free, I guess, and a little kind of a little bit. You know what? A little less that, but still, really cool band, and I love Mike Patto's voice. And we also have some other standout people. We got Tim Bogart from Vanilla Fudge and Cactus on bass. We have Adrian Fisher on electric guitars. And of course the wonderful Mike Patto on vocals. Killing it, as always. And this is kind of an interesting find. This is No Small Affairs. Not typically the type of person that goes for a soundtrack album, but this does have an early version of Zebra. What's the song by Zebra? Hard Living Without You, which is a different version than the album version. An earlier pre-released version of that song, which is really cool. And it also has Twisted Sister, a couple of Twisted Sister, actually. And probably the most notable one is the Fiona track. This is before, I believe this is before Fiona had her first album come out, so... And I love Fiona. I love just about all the records she did throughout the 80s and early 90s. Kind of like a hard rock kind of female singer. Just really good. I highly recommend everybody check out the Fiona records. Really good. You can get them on, I believe, like Wounded Bird Records reissued a bunch of her stuff all together, like on a CD box set. So, highly recommend everybody checking that out. And kind of a fun. I mean, an 80s, kind of like teen movie. Kind of an interesting movie. It has, of course, Demi Moore and John Cryer. So, yeah. A little bit of No Small Affairs soundtrack. So, just thought I'd throw that in there. Kind of a fun find. And then we got, of course, this classic Get the Knack by the Knack. This is a barnstormer of an album. Absolutely phenomenal power pop, rock. Awesome. I mean, it doesn't get much more classy than this. One of the best of that era of the late 70s. What is this? 78, I believe. And of course, My Sharona, just killer. Heartbeat, awesome. Just one after another. Just a great hard rockin' pop rock album. This is a very, very rockin' album. Really good. Highly recommend everybody check that out. I mean, if you don't know it, it's a classic. You gotta go check it out. And I got it for like $3. So, cannot complain. Super happy. Comes with the original insert, inner sleeve. There's the Knack in the corner right there. On Capitol Records. Beautiful copy. Couldn't be more happy with adding that finally to the collection. I just don't feel like paying like $10-15 for it, so when I saw it for $3, I was like, gotta get that. So very good. And then we got, this one's kind of a guilty pleasure, you would say. We got a little bit of Player, self-titled debut album. This is really kind of smooth. That West Coast kind of vibes. Kind of cool. We got, of course, Baby Come Back, the big hit. But then there's also some more kind of rocky tunes on here, which are kind of cool. And it's definitely more of like, I would say more of a kind of easier kind of album, but still, I highly recommend this and their second album, which is a little more rockin', which I very much dig. A little more AOR rock, but they're definitely kind of underrated because they're mostly only known for the one big hit. And they're a little bit more than that, in my opinion, and highly recommend everybody give it a try. Another gold stamp promo. Just a bunch of gold stamp promos. Probably came from a DJ, if I had to guess. So, and we also, it's on a white label promo as well, which is really neat. Really cool to find. Let's see what we got on. There we go. All right, there you are. Player. And up next, I got this little supergroup album. We got Whitford and St. Holmes. Of course, we got Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. This is kind of like during that down period of records where they weren't really recording any new music, and Joe Perry was doing his solo stuff. So they did this cool little supergroup. Which, of course, and then Derek St. Holmes, of course, on vocals and bass guitar, knocking it out. Once again, absolutely one of the premier 70s vocalists, 70s and 80s vocalists. Love so much stuff on here. And this album is from 1981. So, yeah. Really cool, kind of interesting album, and I highly recommend everybody checking that out. It was on Columbia, of course, because gotta be on Columbia. But yeah, really cool supergroup. Kind of, I believe that's the only record they did, so kind of a unique album. So yeah. Up next, we got a little Ram Jam. Portrait of the Artist as a Young Ram. This is their second album. Once again, another gold stamp promo. A lot of gold stamp promos, like I said. And also, it's a white label promo. And I got this once again for under $3. Excellent find. This album is much different than their first album. The first album is more like a kind of like a boogie blues. It definitely has a harder rock side, but this is definitely a little bit more metallic and edgy than the first album. Totally different production, and highly recommend everybody checking that out. And it does have the little white stripe on what do you call it? Strip, the promo strip on the back, which is, I always love seeing those for like a radio station, giving you like all the stuff. And what else have we got? A little Wishbone Ash action right here. Kind of funny. We got a flying V on this side, and then like a fender on the other side, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this is Just Testing. This is one of their later albums. This is actually a German pressing on MCA Records. Has the insert. And of course, this is the one with Laurie Weisfeld on guitars, which was a great addition to the band. really awesome. He does some vocals too, of course. Another one of those bands that, with the times, they kind of remind me of Rush in some ways, because kind of with the times they kind of moved on and kept like progressing their sound a lot. So there's still, even these later albums have really cool songs, really cool, just really interesting stuff in my opinion. I mean, of course they got more poppy, more polished, but again, like Rush, they never really made like a really bad. I mean, maybe there's a couple of the '90s albums that aren't so great, but at least this one's a pretty dang good album. I highly recommend. If you guys haven't checked out the later Wishbone Ash era stuff, it's definitely worth a shot, I would say. And here's the vinyl itself on that MCA label. And I don't even think we're halfway done. I've been talking a lot, so I'll try to move this along a little bit quicker, hopefully. We got Paris. And this is, I've been looking for their first album for a very, very long time. This is a super, super hot rockin' album. It's like kind of Led Zeppelin-y, hard rock kind of stuff. Produced by Jimmy Robinson, who would produce, of course, famously, the Detective. Yeah, he produced this album right here. Is it the Detective album? Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but yeah, but of course everybody thought that that was an alias for Jimmy Page that produced that, but it was actually a real person called Jimmy Robinson. And this is just a really hot rockin' album. Highly recommend everybody checking that out. Another band that you don't really hear about a lot. 70s, just 70s hard rock awesomeness, you know. Highly recommend everybody checking it out. And we do have the original inner sleeve that came with it. And it's on Capitol Records. And of course, I got this for such a good deal. I got it for like under $3 once again. And that deal, I got a whole lot of good kind of 70s and early 80s hard rock stuff and obscure stuff. That's just a bargain for me. So highly, highly recommend everybody checking this album out. Super fun, super rockin'. And yeah.